Bane! Oh, Bane. I am one of you.
Why so serious?
Welcome back to FanScription. This is part 2 of our rewrite of Christopher Nolan's third Batman film, What If the Joker Was in The Dark Knight Rises? Make sure you check out part 1 before continuing here because we have made some alterations to the story, including introducing the Sons of Batman, Selina Kyle releasing the Joker from Arkham Asylum, and even splitting Dark Knight Rises into 2 separate movies. We left off on Bruce finally escaping the prisoners pit and the Joker re-debuting in Bane's anarchy-ridden Gotham. The Joker's real effect on this story starts now, so let's get into it. We open on Bruce traveling through rough terrain, trying to find his way back to Gotham. He's walking alone with the unforgiving sun beating down on him. A big complaint with the original film is that Bruce just pops back up in Gotham without us knowing how he got back, or more importantly, how he snuck his way into the city when it's surrounded by Bane's forces, police officers, and the US military. Yes, the Special Forces unit came in under the radar, but they had plenty of help and were eventually found out. In our version, we're going to see Bruce's journey back home, and it will take up a good chunk of the runtime. Escaping the pit was only the beginning. As Bruce struggles his way across the globe, we'll see the parallel story of Joker's return to prominence in Gotham. What should be pretty obvious is that Joker is quickly at home among the chaos Bane has created. He even believes this is his long overdue plan finally coming to fruition. A mix of criminals, former Arkham inmates, and ordinary citizens who have been driven mad by the situation quickly flock to Joker's deranged mind. His reputation precedes him as he again becomes a feared presence in Gotham. His home base is in the Narrows, but Joker rarely pops up himself, instead implementing guerrilla warfare tactics like suicide bombers to take out some of Bane's territory. He's also working on new chemical compounds that may suggest biological warfare. Joker sees Bane as a schemer. He has plans, an agenda, while Joker himself is an agent of chaos and wants to turn those plans on their head. Plus, he's personally offended that Batman finally returned after all these years and Bane killed him. It's clear that Joker still thinks of Batman as his twisted soulmate, and make no mistake, as long as there's some kind of authority, Joker will rebel against it. One of his missions culminates in the theft of the schematics to Bane's mask. The reason for this is not immediately known. Bane sees Joker as more of an annoyance than a threat, but his followers are distracting him and his forces enough for John Blake's faction, the Sons of Batman, to gain some ground by recruiting new members and resources with the police. Also, they've been emboldened since the Joker's return to fight even harder for what Batman stood for. We cut back and forth from what's happening in Gotham to Bruce's path of redemption. He has to go through a lot to even return to the US. Luckily, he still has an ally or two in that part of the world who help him when he needs it most. This is where you can drop a name that could be an Easter egg to comic fans, like David Zavimbe or Tetsuya Mishiro. Just someone who shows up for a scene or two to help Bruce along. But Bane also has friends in high places. It'll be a difficult balance to not let this odyssey become a mere time-wasting side quest for Bruce, but we have to see him go through more adversity on his way back. This includes several scenes where he has to fight or mentally maneuver his way past a few obstacles. Eventually, he secures a plane ride back to the States, and from there, it's not too difficult for him to get close to Gotham. However, getting into the city is another story. It's no easy task getting past everyone guarding downtown Gotham, but I may have an interesting solution. Remember the history of Wayne Manor and more specifically, what came to be the Batcave.
In the Civil War, your great-great-grandfather was involved in the Underground Railroad, secretly transporting freed slaves to the north, and I suspect these cabins came in handy.
We're gonna dig into that idea and say there are secret tunnels beneath Wayne Manor that connect the Batcave and the caverns surrounding it to an exit right smack in the middle of downtown Gotham. Bane and the League of Shadows are unaware of it, and even Bruce isn't sure that the stories Alfred always told him as a boy were true. Now, downtown Gotham has been isolated by bridges being taken out, except for one that is. While the manor is technically within the bounds of Gotham, it's far enough away to have not been caught within the zone Bane isolated.
Is Wayne Manor in the city limits?
The Palisades?
Sure.
Bruce finally returns to his family home and takes in the fact that he's traveled all this way, yet the most difficult part of his journey lies ahead. He has a reflective moment where he sees himself as a boy crying and hugging Alfred.
Why do we fall? So that we can learn to pick ourselves up.
Still haven't given up on me.
Never.
This brings feelings of sadness and regret flooding back. Bruce misses Alfred. He was the one person always at his side, and his absence hurts greater than Bane's beating ever could. But then, he reminds himself of what he has to do, who he has to save, what's at stake. Bruce Wayne grabs some supplies and heads for the cave. After a bit of searching, he finds the entrance to the tunnels hidden behind some decaying brick and walks into the darkness he's become so accustomed to. Through tight spaces and rat-infested passageways, Bruce travels for hours and hours until he literally sees a faint light at the end of the tunnel. Bruce rams through the few deteriorated wood planks blocking his path and falls into the shallow water below. He gathers himself and looks around to see he's in a large open area in the sewer. Daylight shines down from a wide grate above him. Loud sounds of water flowing fill his ears as he catches his breath. Bruce realizes this must have been one of the areas where Bane was gathering his forces before his attack on the city. Something's different though. He can't explain it, but he can almost feel a slight sense of panic start to develop within himself. That's when he notices the air has a hazy quality to it, and the smell, it's familiar. As he steps backward to get a better look at the heavily shadowed area, he bumps into something behind him. Bruce is startled to see a Scarecrow ominously looking down at him.
Not my best likeness, but what can I say? I'm not much of an artist.
Bruce turns to see Jonathan Crane, aka the Scarecrow, standing behind him. It's clear he's taken his alter ego to the next level as he's much more decked out like his traditional comic book counterpart. Bruce looks around him and sees a few dead bodies strewn about. Scarecrow has turned this area into his hideout where he lures people to kill them with his fear toxin.
Oh, don't mind them. Squire's rights.
Crane.
Scarecrow stops walking toward Bruce.
Do I know you? You look familiar.
Bruce steps back. He's exhausted from the hours he spent crawling through the tunnel, and even though he was inoculated years before, Crane's fear toxin is still effective. He thinks to himself that it must be a stronger batch than the compound used all those years ago.
I guess it doesn't matter. In a minute, you won't know who you are either.
A bat then flies out of Scarecrow's mouth. Or did it? Faint screams of people suffering force Bruce to try and focus.
Bruce.
Wayne turns to see Rachel Dawes a few feet away.
You killed me, Bruce. How could you? I thought you loved me.
Bruce looks like he's seen a ghost and whispers,
I didn't kill you.
No.
Rachel walks closer and slowly catches fire.
You just didn't have to save me, did you?
I tried.
Harvey Dent was 10 times the man that you are. If he couldn't save this city, what makes you think you can? You're nothing but a washed-up fraud in a little boy's Halloween costume.
Rachel's entire body is on fire as she steps close to Bruce.
No.
Yes.
No! Bruce reaches out and grabs what is now Scarecrow's arm. He was trying to release a potent fear toxin dose right in Bruce's face before Wayne stopped it. Crane is surprised for a moment before Bruce lands a couple quick blows, which KOs Scarecrow into the shallow water at their feet. Bruce catches his breath and knows he has to get out quickly before the toxin is too much to take. He brings out a small explosive device and throws it up at the grate above him. It blasts it open. Bruce takes out a grappling hook and escapes the sewer. Above ground in the fresh air, Wayne breathes deeply, still shaking off any ill effects of the toxin. As he stands, a knife slides close to his neck from behind.
Look at this! A rat just crawled out of the sewer! Hey, wait a minute, you're Bruce what?
A clubbing blow knocks out the assailant. Bruce turns to see Selina Kyle standing above him. Their interaction here is similar to the original.
I thought they killed you.
Not yet.
If you're expecting an apology.
It wouldn't suit you. I need your help.
No kidding.
Bruce looks down to see the man who attacked him is wearing a clown mask like the Joker gang from years ago.
That's not...
Yeah, it is.
Selina is unapologetic, but more than willing to help after Bruce explains that the bomb is going off tomorrow. She agrees to get him to Lucius Fox as soon as possible. Commissioner Gordon leads a small group to try and mark the truck that's holding Bane's bomb. His team is comprised of Miranda Tate, a few police officers, and a couple members of the Sons of Batman. They're all trying their best to keep a low profile. John Blake is keeping watch from up above when they're apprehended, but here, instead of Bane's mercenaries, they're held up by armed members of Joker's gang. Blake has to keep quiet as he watches his friends get hauled away. Gordon and his comrades are brought in front of the same stack of desks seen at the end of Part 1. This version of the courtroom features only Joker's gang in attendance, and the man himself sits above them all, peeling an apple with a knife. As he chews through a slice, he notices who's been brought before him and gets excited. James Gordon? He leaps off the stack of desks to the floor and happily walks up to the commissioner. How the hell are you, old man? He goes in to hug Gordon, who puts his hand on Joker's chest to stop him.
Don't touch me, you psychopath.
Jim, is that any way to greet an old friend?
I don't know who let you out of your cage, but Arkham will seem like paradise compared to where we'll put you when this is over.
Ooh, your words cut me like paper, Commissioner. With our asthmatic assassin friend out there, I thought you and I might finally be working on the same side for once.
You and I on the same side? You know, I used to think the name was tacky, but no, Joker fits.
Joker ravenously lunges forward and holds the knife to Gordon's face. Don't test me. Besides, the one you told about Batman killing all those people that your buddy Dent did is the funniest thing I've ever heard. I had to give my name to you. Joker releases Gordon with a shove as the captured police look on helplessly. You just had to cheat to win, didn't you? Now look where that's gotten you. The people of Gotham are finally showing their true colors, and I get to experience it all from the inside out. All thanks to you and your dirty little lie. It's a shame our man in black couldn't be here to join in on the fun. I'll admit when I heard what happened, I was a little upset. Joker takes out a gun and nonchalantly shoots one of Gordon's men. He walks closer. Who does this Bane guy think he is anyway? Joker shoots another cop and takes another few steps forward. No, this is my city. He can cherry-pick his way to the top if he wants, but we all know why we're here. Him and his little G.I. Joe wannabes are standing on our shoulders. Aren't they? Joker is in Gordon's face and points the gun at Miranda Tate.
Stop! You're right. This is my fault. I lied about what happened with Harvey. My decision. My mistake. My shame. But I'll be damned if after all that, this city gets blown sky high. We're not going to let that happen, whether I'm here or not.
Joker soaks in Gordon's words and thinks for a moment, then puts the gun away. Tell you what, how about we take a page out of old Harvey's playbook? Joker takes out Two-Face's coin and holds it up to Gordon. Call it in the air, or I put a nice wide grin onto your new girlfriend. By the way, major upgrade from the wife. He winks at Miranda as he flips the coin into the air. Gordon has to react quickly.
Heads!
The coin lands on the ground and spins around for a bit before falling on the good head side. Joker sees the result and slowly raises his eyes to Gordon. He stares a moment too long. Put him on ice. Joker quickly walks away as his guards aggressively take Gordon and his group out of the room. Selina gets Bruce to Lucius Fox, then secures their escape. Bruce and Fox get to the Bat Bunker, where Wayne retrieves his old Batsuit and more gear. They travel to the secure location of the Bat, and Batman himself is back in business. Gordon, Miranda, and their group are forced onto the thin ice, as in the original film, but this time by some of Joker's gang. Batman quietly takes out the armed enforcers and reveals himself to the Commissioner. Gordon throws the flare onto the ice and ignites the giant bat signal painted on the bridge.
Impossible.
Bane may be shocked at the possible return of Batman, but when Joker sees the flaming insignia, he's ecstatic and literally leaps for joy. His laugh echoes through the night as we cut to Blake and a few of his followers trying to secretly release the police from underground. They're found out by a small group of League of Shadows members and surrounded against the rubble. Just before they're fired upon, Batman shows up and starts taking them out. Blake and his group join in, and together they defeat their assailants. Blake and the Sons are in awe that Batman has returned.
Who are your friends?
They're not my friends. They kept you alive when we all thought you were dead.
Batman looks over Blake's group and locks eyes with a young man. He barely looks 16. Bruce's concern is obvious.
Get them out of the city. Tomorrow's an all-out assault on Bane. We may fail, I need you to lead them and everyone else you can find to safety.
Batman starts to walk away.
No.
The young man speaks and walks forward. Batman stops and turns around.
Where you fight, we fight. And we won't fail.
Blake smirks at Batman, who doesn't have a response. Cut to a couple moments later as the Bat blasts the rubble apart, freeing Gotham's police force. From here, Bruce leads Catwoman to the Batpod and tells her to blast open the Midtown Tunnel. He's hoping people can escape Gotham while Bane is distracted by the fighting. Selina's been willing to help up to this point, but her natural survival instincts kick in and she feels she's done enough to help the situation.
I've got 45 minutes to get clear of the blast radius, because you don't stand a chance against these guys.
With your help, I might.
I'll open that tunnel, then I'm gone.
There's more to you than that. And now you can find out how much more.
Batman holds up the Clean Slate program on a flash drive.
What is that?
What do you think it is?
Selina takes the program, but is stubborn in her decision.
Come with me. You don't owe these people anymore. You've given them everything.
Not everything. Not yet.
Selina leans in and kisses Bruce before taking off on the Batpod. There should be a hint of romantic attraction between the two, but nothing more. This story is too big to give the proper time for substantial, believable chemistry to develop, a problem I had with the original film. As the sun rises on Gotham, the upcoming conflict thickens the air with tension. Two large groups fill a main thoroughfare. On one side stands most of Bane's mercenaries, on the other, Gotham's newly released police and the Sons of Batman. Blake is on the front lines when Peter Foley, Gordon's second in command, joins him. A nervous silence is broken by two tumblers pulling up and getting ready to fire on the police. Just then, gunfire disables the aiming tumbler's turret as everyone looks up. The Bat is seen landing on the above rooftop as Batman jumps from it. He enables his cape to quickly glide to the ground and lands in front of the police, right in front of Blake. As soon as he lands, both sides let out a war cry and the two groups charge at each other. As the battle ensues, Joker and his gang watch from a nearby area. He's flipping a small green tube in his hand and instructs one of his minions.
Let her rip.
One of the masked men step forward and launch a grenade into the middle of the fight. As his gang all run toward the battle, Joker slowly trails behind. It's clear he's biding his time to strike. With the Joker gang causing more havoc, the sea of humanity becomes even more violent. They're attacking anybody they can get their hands on. Batman finds Bane in the fray, and they begin their one-on-one battle. Bane is surprised at how evenly matched they are this time around. While the war has hit its stride, Catwoman blasts open the Midtown Tunnel, but finds it more difficult to leave than she thought. At the same time, Gordon and a small team have located the truck with the bomb on it. He gets close, but is having trouble getting inside to block the detonator signal with the device Batman gave him. Batman himself has finally gained the upper hand on Bane by knocking one of the tubes on his mask loose. Bane can't seem to recover as he's knocked into City Hall. The battle rages on for a couple moments as Bane is still formidable enough to land a blow on Batman's previously broken back. He screams in agony, but Bane's rally is cut short as Bruce pushes through the pain to knock his adversary to the floor.
Where's the trigger? Where is it? Where is it?
Tell me where the trigger is. Then you have my permission to die.
Just then, Batman is cracked in his back again, this time by the Joker. As Bane lies in pain, Joker saunters on over to him and gets in his face. Bane can barely move and just stares at him.
It's the scars, isn't it? You know, I was a soldier once. All this war out there. You could say I'm used to it. One day on patrol, an IED blows off half my face. I come home and all I get everywhere I go are stares. Like the one you've got right now. I thought, maybe if they could see me smile again, they wouldn't be so scared. Maybe little children wouldn't hide behind their mother's dress when they see me. So I evened things out. Did wonders for me. I think you could use some similar medicine, wouldn't you say? Let's put a smile on that face.
Joker rips off one of the loose tubes from Bane's mask and forces the green one he was holding earlier in its place. He snaps it shut and a loud hissing is heard. Green mist slowly spills out of the mask as Bane grasps at it. He starts laughing harder and harder until a grotesque silence replaces the noise. Batman is still recovering from the blow to his back and watches on in horror. Joker steps up close and yanks off Bane's mask. The once imposing villain lies dead with his scarred face exposed. frozen in a rictus grin. Joker nonchalantly puts on the mask as his voice is heard, distorted like Bane's was.
Ooh, spooky.
Batman rushes him in a rage, grabbing and swinging wildly. You killed us, you maniac!
I missed you too.
Just then, one of Joker's men enters, holding Miranda Tate at knife point.
Do you mind?
Let her go!
Joker can tell something's off about Tate being there. After a moment, he motions to his lackey to release her. She falls into Batman's arms for a moment. When she pulls away, we see that she stabbed him in the ribs. Batman's shocked face gets even more confused as she takes out the detonator to the nuke. Joker can't help himself and laughs uncontrollably at the situation.
Miranda? Why?
Talia goes on to explain that she is the daughter of Ra's al Ghul. The backstory is changed up a bit here. Similarly to the comics, we're going to have the child that was born in the pit actually be Bane. We can say that he and Talia were half-siblings. Bane was severely injured in the pit as a boy, which is why he had the mask. As an illegitimate son of Ra's, he was forced to serve the prison sentence meant for his father. Ra's also never accepted him as a legitimate heir. Upon his death, Bane forcibly took over the League of Shadows, and Talia decided to join him to get revenge on Bruce and Gotham. Together, they've been slowly destroying the city from the inside out. So they're partners here, instead of that protector relationship they had in the original film. I think this makes things a bit simpler and doesn't feature Bane ultimately just being a big pawn in a larger scheme. He was trying to do what his father couldn't to show he was better than him, while Talia was always just out for revenge. Their motivations are different, but they were united in their goal. Outside, Blake is fighting valiantly, but is trapped alone against multiple mercenaries. Just as they're about to kill him, a big blast shoots them 24 feet away. Catwoman is on the Batpod, smirking at Blake.
What do you want, thank you? Well, you don't get one after what you did. After you let that psycho out of his cage.
You're welcome.
Back inside, Talia looks on at Bane's twisted, dead body. She also now has a grudge against the Joker for killing her brother.
And you. This decaying city made you. Both of you. You're the perfect example of the disease Gotham always was. Well, the cure is in my hand, and today we finally end this cycle of filth. Goodbye, Bruce.
Gordon, you gave him a way to block my signal. No matter. We spot Gotham 11 minutes.
A League of Shadows member enters City Hall and shoots Joker's henchmen.
We have to go. The truck is under attack.
Leave them alive. They burn with their city.
As Talia leaves, Batman and Joker make eye contact. Oh, I'm not gonna miss this. He runs outside and jumps in a tumbler that one of his men stole, then follows Talia's ride. Batman is moving a bit slower from the abuse he's taken as he's seen and helped by Blake and Selina. He takes Blake with him in the Bat as Catwoman runs ground support on the pod. Together, they chase after Talia. She quickly catches up to the truck holding the bomb and jumps inside the cab. There are now 2 tumblers following the truck, one driven by a League of Shadows member and the other by the Joker. Selina catches up to them first and gets closer while avoiding gunfire. The Bat then enters the scene with Bruce and Blake inside. The League's Tumbler shoots several homing missiles at it, forcing Batman to disengage to try and outrun them. Joker's Tumbler is driving wildly on the street and rams into the side of the truck several times, almost pushing it off the road. Selina finally gets an open shot and blows up the League's Tumbler. Batman maneuvers around the city, attempting to avoid the missiles. He squeezes through a tight space to get rid of all but one. He leads that last missile right into the side of Joker's Tumbler, making it crash into the side of a building. The Bat now has a direct line of fire on the truck. As Batman fires away, the driver loses control and crashes to a street below. The driver dies in the fall as Gordon forces his way out of the back. He's badly hurt. Catwoman, Batman, and Blake quickly arrive to help Gordon and see Talia lay dying in the smashed cab. She says she flooded the reactor core where Lucius Fox was trying to find a way of reconnecting the bomb to stabilize it. As we see Fox barely escape that location, she forces out more ominous words.
There's no way this bomb will be stopped. My father's work is to...
She's shot dead in a spray of bullets by the Joker, who is limping closer to the truck.
Oh, I didn't like her at all.
He then points the gun at Team Batman.
We've got to stop this bomb.
Nobody's stopping anything. We're all going out together, one big happy family. The Bat, the Cat, the Cop, and whoever the hell you are.
Blake rushes forward and is shot by Joker as he tries to grab his gun. This gives Catwoman and Batman enough time to attack. Selina lands a stomp with her heels on Joker's bad leg. He goes down quickly. He tries to fire the gun again, but it's empty. Blake is bleeding badly. Batman rushes to his side.
Go! Get rid of it!
Batman hesitates for just a moment out of concern for Blake.
Go!
Bruce quickly attaches a cable to the bomb and gets in the Bat. Gordon cannot stand, but gets Batman's attention.
Shouldn't the people know the hero who saved them? A hero can be anyone. Even a man doing something as simple as putting a coat around a young boy's shoulders to let him know the world hadn't ended.
Bruce Wayne.
As the Bat takes off and Selina looks up for a moment, Joker takes out a knife and stabs her in the back of the leg. She goes down in pain. With Blake, Gordon, and Catwoman all injured and unable to stop him, the Joker somehow drags himself up and hobbles over to the bomb as the Bat ascends. He grabs the cable at the last second and is hoisted into the air.
Oh, no, you don't. You're not leaving me again. We're a package deal, Batman!
Batman sees where Joker is, but has no time to deal with him. He takes off toward the bay with the bomb and Joker dangling below him. Joker stands on the bomb and shakes the cable a bit, which makes it difficult for Batman to maintain control, but he still does so. The Bat and bomb shrink into the distance as Batman looks forward at an endless ocean before him. The Joker's hysterical laughter is heard in the background. From far away, we see the objects disappear, and a moment later... That's detonation. Gotham celebrates as the police are seen to have the remaining League of Shadows and Joker gang members under arrest. Blake, Gordon, and Catwoman all look up with bittersweet expressions as cheers are heard in the background. Commissioner Gordon's narration begins as we see Gothamites starting to put their lives back together. We cut to the grave of Bruce Wayne, where Alfred, Lucius Fox, and Gordon, who's walking with a cane, all stand in mourning. They walk away, leaving Alfred alone.
I'm so sorry. You trusted me. And I failed you.
Gordon calls Blake, who is in the hospital recovering from gunshot wounds to the chest and shoulder. He confirms to Gordon that he's quitting the force.
You know what you said about structures becoming shackles. You were right.
At Bruce's will hearing, we find out what's left of the estate goes to Alfred, and Wayne Manor is turned into a home for Gotham's orphaned youth. In John Blake's hospital room, a nurse walks in.
Mr. Blake, we're having trouble locating your medical history. Did you grow up in Gotham?
Yeah, they're probably under my birth name. Grayson Richard.
The nurse walks out as a Wayne employee walks in to hand Blake a bag that Bruce left him. Lucius Fox finds out that Bruce fixed the Bat's broken autopilot system 6 months prior, and Gordon finds a new bat signal on top of Police HQ. Blake locates the Batcave as we see Alfred at that same restaurant in Florence he mentioned at the beginning of the film. A note falls out of his menu. Confused, Alfred opens it. It reads,
You still haven't given up on me.
He starts to tear up, cracks a small smile, and whispers,
Never.
News reports are playing under all of this, mentioning that the city has been getting back to normal over the last few months. Although some citizens are reporting sightings of Batman-like figures, they chalk it up to the hero who saved them still being on everyone's minds. In contrast, police have been getting infrequent reports of people in clown masks committing crimes. However, they seem to think they have the situation under control. Commissioner Gordon stands on top of Police HQ and lights up the bat signal into the night sky. It shines brightly as we see Selina Kyle and Lucius Fox in different areas look up at it. Back at the newly purposed Wayne Manor, we see the young teenager who talked to Batman before his battle with Bane looking sad out a window. He catches the bat signal in the distance, and a proud smile lightens his face. And with that, we end our two-parter on The Dark Knight Rises. Adding the Joker into the mix could have likely made this story more interesting, but there just wasn't a way I could see it working without tacking on another part to this last story in the saga. Besides Joker's chaotic presence, we fixed other issues as we went along, including the Talia Bane reveal, Blake's overall story, and the now ambiguous fate of Bruce Wayne. This ending is meant to be uncertain. Did Bruce and/or Joker survive the explosion? Is Blake now the Caped Crusader? Or is he running the Sons of Batman as an underground crime-fighting organization? We see the lasting influence of The Dark Knight regardless, but also some of Joker's ideals have permeated Gotham's consciousness. Whether they're alive or not, what they stood for lives on in some form or fashion, and that was always what was most important. No matter how you look at it, there's still a ton going on in these proposed films, but I think closing it out this way would have been a more satisfying conclusion. Christopher Nolan is one of, if not, my favorite directors, and his films from Memento to The Prestige to Inception have inspired me more than most to write and try to make films myself. I hold a lot of admiration for what he did with the Batman franchise, and even if the third film wasn't quite as good as I hoped, he still gave us 2 films that changed how we thought comic book movies could be made and captured our imaginations, directing sequences and performances that we're still comparing things to. And for that, I'll always be thankful. Make sure you check out our FanScription podcast at the link below as I talk with Rob Walker about all the work that went into making this massive 2-parter a reality. Also, audio versions of all our episodes are available on the feed. Thank you for watching, and remember, it's not who you are underneath, but what you do that defines you.